Hey there, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Dr. P. Today we're talking about, can antibiotics cause bacterial vaginosis? And so in this topic, we're going to talk about several different things, but we'll start by talking about what is bacterial vaginosis, how antibiotics may impact your vaginal microbiome, and how to prevent bacterial vaginosis if you are taking antibiotics. All right, so let's talk about this very common infection, bacterial vaginosis, which we sometimes may call or refer to as BV for short. So I might say both during this video, but bacterial vaginosis is an infection of the vaginal space. Whenever we mention microbiome, we're talking about all the different components of what makes our vaginal space or vaginal space. There are lots of microbes and some bacteria here, some yeast here, things that live there, and they're really there to protect the space. We have bacteria on our skin, we have bacteria on our eyelids. I mean, we are surrounded by so much microbes, a lot of which are here to protect us and fight against other things that may try to invade our spaces. But sometimes this could also be a bad thing. And so when we think of bacterial vaginosis, this is often caused by a bacteria that normally lives in the vaginal space that overgrows. This can happen to people who are sexually active. This could happen to people who are not sexually active. This can be increased by male partners. This sometimes are not impacted by male partners at all. And so it is important for us to understand that it is common, but oftentimes it could be non-sexual. It can be caused just by an overgrowth of this bacteria that already lives in your vaginal space. Now, what we know is that the common bacteria that causes this is called Gardnerella vaginalis. We also know that if you have a decrease in the amount of lactobacillus, which is another bacteria that lives in the space, we can have an increase in the likelihood of bacterial vaginosis happening. The reason is lactobacillus is responsible for maintaining the acidic nature of the vagina. The vagina loves to be acidic. It loves to have a pH of somewhere between 3.8 to 4.5. That's where it wants to be, which is quite acidic. It is a good thing. If we don't have enough lactobacillus producing the acid that we naturally need to keep us in that range, then it increases the likelihood of an overgrowth of this Gardnerella vaginalis bacteria. Similarly, the reason why I mentioned sexual and non-sexual activity and the fact that this infection can happen in either scenario is because if your vaginal pH increases, meaning that it's not as acidic as it wants to be, meaning that the pH range is higher than 4.5, sometimes this can be influenced by semen. Semen is very basic, which means that it has a pH that is much higher. Oftentimes it could be somewhere between 7, 8, or even 9. And so if semen enters the vaginal space, it will neutralize or cause the acidic nature of the vagina to be reduced. Whenever the vagina is not as acidic, if it's out of range from 3.8 to 4.5, it increases the likelihood of this bacteria, Gardnerella vaginalis, multiplying and overgrowing, leading to bacterial vaginosis. There isn't often very strong symptoms when it comes to bacterial vaginosis. It is associated with a gray, thin discharge, but honestly, it is very difficult to identify a thin gray discharge, right? Your discharge is on your underwear, you're wiping it with tissue. Can you really see a gray color? It is kind of hard to say. However, some people may notice it, and because it is such a subtle change to your discharge, oftentimes people have bacterial vaginosis for very long periods of time and they're completely unaware of it. Now, the symptom that usually triggers that something is wrong here is having a fishy odor. What will cause this odor to come about is sexual activity. sexual activity increases the bacteria releasing this odor, and oftentimes that is your biggest clue that you may have bacterial vaginosis. So now that we've torn apart bacterial vaginosis and you have a very good understanding of what this is, let's talk about what happens when you are taking antibiotics. Antibiotics in general may completely disrupt your microbiome. Again, that's all the bacteria that lives in your vagina. A part of the reason for this is because antibiotics is not quite specific to bad bacteria, or it doesn't know how to kill some bacteria and not others. And so when you take antibiotics, this antibiotics is going around in your body killing whatever it sees. So that means the good bacteria gets affected as well as the bad bacteria as well. Now the vagina wants bacteria there. It needs it there to protect it. If our microbiome changes in such a way that we have removed a lot of the good bacteria, then we don't have the protection we need down there. This may lead to bad bacteria overgrowing as well, leading to other problems. And this may also lead to a yeast infection. And I'm sure you've probably heard, but if not, know that after antibiotics, it is very common that a yeast infection may develop as well. Lactobacillus is one of those bacteria that may be reduced as well because of antibiotics. Again, lactobacillus is really important for maintaining the acidity in your vagina. If your vagina isn't very acidic, it increases the likelihood of getting bacterial vaginosis. Do you see how everything kind of like ties together here and can affect your system just by taking one antibiotic? Whenever you have an infection and you have need for antibiotics, please do take it. So I'm not saying antibiotics are bad. Antibiotics are great. What we're saying is that we want you to be aware. I want you to be aware of what's happening in your vaginal space. I want you to be aware of the things that you should talk to your doctors about so you can have a plan and know that if another secondary infection occurs, that there isn't something wrong with you. It is just the medicine. It's what we know about how antibiotics work and how our bodies respond. There are studies that absolutely show that there is an increase in bacterial vaginosis after taking antibiotics. We also know that antibiotics and antifungals can both increase the likelihood of getting bacterial vaginosis. We also know that if you have recurrent bacterial vaginosis, meaning that you're having 4 to 5 infections per year, we know that constantly taking antibiotics for this will increase the likelihood of getting more infections, and bacterial vaginosis infections at that. So my recommendation to you is that if you're experiencing recurrent bacterial vaginosis, it's time for us to pause a bit. It's time for us to pause taking our antibiotics over and over again. We want to first understand what is the root cause of my bacterial vaginosis. Is it because of sexual activity? Is it because of excessive sweating? Is it because I'm being treated with antibiotics systemically for some other reason? Is it because I'm ingesting too much sugar in my diet and it's causing this overgrowth? There's so many different reasons, but we want to know the root cause of what is causing your recurrent bacterial vaginosis. We then want to make sure that if you're taking systemic antibiotics, that you are coating and preparing your body with protection. And the best way you can do that is by taking probiotics. Probiotics are cultures, are good bacteria that you can ingest through your dairy intake, like yogurt, for instance. You can have kombucha, which is a drink that has live cultures in it. You can have kefir and different things to help to support your body while you're taking antibiotics. You can also take vaginal probiotics. These are probiotics that are like in capsules that are specific to the vaginal space. They often end in rhamnosus. Lactobacillus rhamnosus is a good type of probiotic that helps to protect the vaginal space. So I'd look out for that, and I would take that while taking antibiotics. I'd also do other things to help to protect your system. I would make sure that we're not douching, because douching also interrupts your vaginal microbiome, leading to the possibility of getting bacterial vaginosis. I would avoid scented products. That means avoiding scents in your moisturizer, in your body wash, because all of these things may disrupt your hormonal state as well as your microbiome. I know sometimes it sounds amazing, like using an antibacterial soap sounds great. But again, anything antibacterial will kill good bacteria as well and place you in a state that is, one, to increase the likelihood of getting an infection. We want to do less. Less is more. Protect your vagina by leaving it to do its job on its own. Use water, use very mild washes. Do not put anything inside like douching. I hope this information has been helpful. I hope you learned something. Share it with someone who may need to know these things. You know what? There's another video that I think may be very helpful as you go through and try to regulate your life a little bit better. That is linked in the video description right below. And if you come on over to the next video, we'll talk a little bit more and we'll continue to learn together. Thank you so much for being here. See you soon.